Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. Guessing probably not going to run into too many tamale stands, unfortunately, today. So I'm going to have a tortilla with some tuna. Not quite what I call authentic Mexican, but I guess I'll do what I can do back here in the country. So anyway, it's day 28, I believe, assuming it is Monday. I think it is. Had a great weekend in Hot Springs / down in Asheville. Bethany and Allie flew in and picked me up Saturday nice and early, and we spent the day together. That was nice. Got to go down to the Arboretum, see a bunch of cool azaleas and the rhododendrons in bloom, so that was a treat. Nothing up here in the high country except, well, nothing, but tons of wildflowers, so quite impressive, but just none of the rhododendrons in bloom yet, so they're thinking about it, but not quite. Another few weeks probably, about the time I get out of them, I'd imagine, unfortunately. So, did my first big push yesterday. Made it 20 miles out of Hot Springs, which is a pretty good feat considering it was pretty much straight up, and certainly the last 3 miles into the area I camped last night were just ridiculously uphill. Took forever, but made it. Feeling a little tired this morning, but not significantly worse than most days, so figure it's good to stretch the legs out there, and we'll see how it goes. If I can keep a couple of those days up, that'll be nice. I'll certainly have a lot less food in my backpack for all these pushes. Kind of right now on one of the big push, the second largest down in this part of the world. It's a little over, or right at 70 miles, I think, between resupply points. So not quite the same as the Smokies, but pretty close, and no what I call a bailout point. You know, there was Gatlinburg halfway through the national park that if you really wanted to, you could get a shuttle down into, get some fudge, some resupplies, probably a steak or two. Or here it's pretty much 70 miles through the wilderness before you see another town. You know, there's a gas station. Looks like that the trail gets about 2.5 miles close within, so I suppose if you timed it just right, you could hike down into that and get some sort of resupply, at least a Mountain Dew, which wouldn't be so bad. Anyway, so at this point I'm pretty much on my own. Everybody else decided they were gonna push on through Hot Springs, so the guy I'd been hiking with had pushed on during those storms for some reason. He thought it was safe enough, and looks like he got lucky, and it was. But that last night we were in the mountains and came out and ended up at the hotel. It had tornadoes in the area and quite a bit of damage up in the high country, so I think we were smart to get out of there, and I know I was quite pleased even to take the next day just to avoid any kind of worries, so that was good. And everybody else at Hot Springs either resupplied and went on, or just spent one night there and then got up the next morning and pushed on a few miles. So I think the one couple, Z and Gia, excuse me, rumor is they camped about 5 miles ahead of me last night, so we'll see. I'm not gonna catch them anytime this morning, but there's a big gap between campsites, so if I push through 13 miles, then I'm pretty much committed to about 22 miles, so I'm assuming that's probably where they're making for as well as that second one. So we'll have about 15 miles, which is kind of their typical hiking distance. So anyway, we'll see. Weather's supposed to be fantastic for the next 4 or 5 days, so I'm going to keep pushing and see if I can manage to get into Irwin with a few days worth of food left over in my bag, and then I can start tailoring it down, knowing that I can push these bigger miles in the 15 to 20 mile range. So we'll see. Everybody take care. Bye.